our next one, again, this is not to 0. So key thing here, x squared minus 4x. We need to add a 2. So we're going to get a minus 12 equals 0. Let's plug this in, opposite of b. Plus or minus our under square root, our b squared, which is a negative 4 squared. Make sure you keep it in parentheses. Minus 4 times our a and our c, which is 1 and negative 12. All over 2 times our a, which here is just 1. Then from there, you would get an answer of negative 2. This is already set to 0, so we just kind of plug it in. We have our x, or our opposite of negative 5, plus or minus our negative 5 squared, minus 4 times 2 times 3, our a and our c's, and our 2 times 2. Then from there, you're going to see your answer is 3 over 2. This one's not set to 0, right? So let's get it set to 0. I'm going to subtract the other side to get to our 0, just so I don't have to get a negative x squared. Again, we just plug it in. This is a lot of just plugging in. So we have our opposite of negative 9 plus or minus square root of negative 9 squared minus 4 times 1 times, this is our actually positive 20 now. Then from there, we do our 2 times our a, which is just 1 here. So that is where you get there. And then you're kind of going to see one of your solutions is positive 5. Then our next thing is here, our next problem. It's not to 0. So let's get 3x squared minus 6x plus 3 to get our equaling 0. From there, again, we're plugging in. So we have the opposite of b, which is our b is a negative 6. So it's the opposite of negative 6. Plus or minus, we have under the square root, we have our b squared, negative 6 squared, minus the 4, and times a times c. So our a is 3 here, and our c here is also 3. All over 2 times our a, which is 3 here. And then from simplifying, you're going to get one of your answers as 1. Now, these are the two down here that we need to solve. You'll kind of see because we're making it to the end here. Here, the answer should be negative 7/4. And you're going to be getting this answer, obviously, because we're making it to the end. But to get this answer, negative 1/9, this is the actual problem. I think that's what was supposed to happen. So we're going to solve it like that's the actual problem. So what do we do here? There's no c, right? So this is where we're going to do everything like normal, right? So we know our a is 81, our b is 9. However, what is our c? 0. So this is kind of how this is going to lay out. So the opposite of our b, which is just 9, add or subtract, under our square root, we have our b squared, which is just 9 squared. Then times our negative or minus the 4 times a and c. Well, our a is 81, our c is 0. From there, then we have our 2 times a, which is just 2 times 81. Okay, so you're probably seeing the 0 and possibly are freaking out. Again, this is the one I want to simplify with you so I can show you this kind of solution. So we have our x, right? This is just negative 9. Add or subtract. So our 9 squared stays the same. However, now this whole thing is getting multiplied by 0, which if you multiply anything by 0, you get 0. So then we have an 81 minus 0, which is just an 81. And then we can simplify our 2 times 81 here, which is just the 162. Then do this again. We have our negative 9. This is a plus or minus. Square root of 81 is 9 over 162. You're going to see one of them is going to get you a 0 over 162, which is 0. And then the other solution should be negative 1/9. So yeah, that was the typo. I don't know what exactly happened. But that's the only way to get negative 1/9 with any sorts of those numbers. Then to our final one. So our final one, again, if you are doing this for practice, it's actually negative 7/4. So don't think you're crazy. So again, we need to get this to 0. The same pattern as before. 8x squared plus 10x minus 7 equals 0. Again, that's getting the 0 on one side. To factor, you need to get it to 0 first. Then next, we're just going to plug in. So the opposite of our b, which is just negative 10, plus or minus, under our square root, we have our 10 squared, because that's our b. Then we have minus 4 times our a and our c. Well, our a is 8, and our c is negative 7. All over 2 times our a, which we already had. Our a is 8. And then from simplifying there, you're going to get one of your answers. It should be a negative 7/4. Okay, so that is, I'm going to zoom out here so you can at least see the work here. Again, you are welcome to practice the other ones. If you want to just like send me an email and I can help you make sure you have the right answer, or you can use, photo math or anything like that. Or you can ask your teacher. That is all I have for our activity 11. Again, quadratic formula. Remember, they're probably not going to give you a formula sheet. This is something you will need to memorize if you end up getting a problem that cannot be grouped to factor or is not a recognizable, like, perfect square situation. So this is a worksheet, really good to make sure you remember that formula. I highly recommend the practice, same as the other factoring. Just more practice, you'll start seeing some more patterns of which ones, I immediately need to use the quadratic. Or you can I can see the grouping. So I highly recommend practicing the quadratic formula or always checking that you know it, because it is your fail-safe. It is something that if you look at something and you cannot figure out how to group it, you can do the quadratic formula and get your answers. It does take a while. It is something that takes long. We didn't even finish this in class. So that is all I have for our activity 11. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, just let me know.